Hi everybody, this is Luc Benoit, and today I'm going to talk to you about one of my favorite topics, something I talk to people about a lot and something I help people with a lot: addictive relationships. And today we are going to be referencing some material, a lot of material actually, from Pia Mellody and her book Facing Codependence, and also her other book, which I don't have here to show you, called Facing Love Addiction. I want you to consider this little video a commercial for those two books. They are absolutely phenomenal in what they have to tell you and teach you, and they can be absolutely life-changing. So to get into this material, we're just going to sort of dive in. This is my adaptation and interpretation of a lot of her material with some other stuff mixed in, but it goes sort of like this. Once upon a time, they met across a crowded room. It was a masquerade ball, so they had masks on and costumes, and they couldn't see very well. But they looked at each other across this crowded room of 500 people at this masquerade ball, and they said, "You are the one for me." And they connected up, and it was fast and intense. And usually in this stereotypical version of this story, they moved in together at 3 months, and they got married at 1 year. And during this time, things may have been intense and rocky, because these tend to be sort of intense people. And often when troubles arise with this type of a couple, which is not so atypical as we would think, they may have a child, especially if there's problems, because we all know nothing is better at solving problems than having a kid, right? So, what's actually going on with these people, a lot of it is unseen. And I'm going to draw it for you this way. We're going to say they each have in their head, I'm not going to draw it on his side, but he also has it too, okay, an invisible movie projector. And inside of this invisible movie projector is the perfect person that they have always been looking for to make everything right and to complete them. And this goes both ways with these people, okay? So without even recognizing that they're doing it, they project out this perfect person, this fantasy person, in front of the actual person that they're in relationship with. And that can last for about as long as 2 years. And when that 2-year period, or maybe shorter, ends, that fantasy disintegrates, and their eyes sort of pop open, and these people start to see themselves for who they really are. And usually they say, "Oh my God, I'm married to you?" And it's a very shocking kind of experience, okay? So stereotypically, and we're going to do this according to sort of stereotypical gender roles too, things play out in this way, okay? She tends to come from a history of a lot of abandonment. And she has a lot of insecurities that she may not even be aware of, okay? He is going to be somebody who's branded with a big giant scarlet letter A. And A stands for many things, okay? A is for alcohol. A is for abuse, drug abuse. It could be gambling. It could be smoking pot. It could be workaholic. It could be cheater or sex addict. It could be having other relationships on the side. Whatever it is, all these A's turn out to be one thing: away. Away. Going away. Going away. Away from her, because she's a lot of intensity. She has a lot of insecurities. And as he's going away, if we think about, The Simpsons, Homer Simpson is down at the bar at Moe's. That's activating her insecurities, and she's getting very, very anxious. And she's going to start to nag. And she's going to say, come home, come home. Why are you not spending time with the kids? Why don't you love me? You're spending all the money at the bar. Come home, come home. And the more she nags, the further he runs away. The further he runs away, the more intensely her insecurities are triggered, okay? She may start to have panic attacks. She could become depressed. She could even become suicidal. And in more rare cases, she could become homicidal. And then we're looking at sort of a dateline situation or a fatal attraction kind of a thing. But as all that's happening, it's absolutely intolerable for her, and she cannot stand it. So what she starts to do is chase him. And the more she chases him, the more he runs away. The more he runs away, the more she chases him. And at this point, her anxiety is through the roof. She is like a cat in the old Warner Brothers cartoons with the nails in the ceiling and all the hair sticking out, in a constant state of adrenaline, where she actually feels like she's going to die from this if he doesn't come back to her or something doesn't change. And she reaches a point where it's so bad that she just can't take it. And finally, she actually turns and gives up and starts going the other way. Which, for her, she's still in pain, but it's a good move. Amazingly, this triggers him, and his eyes pop open, because he has his own layer of abandonment underneath going on, and now that gets triggered, and so very quickly he turns and he starts chasing back after her, okay? And when he does, he becomes incredibly, incredibly charming. He says exactly what she wants to hear. He parrots back to her her own words. I'll come home. I'll love you. I'll spend time with the kids. I won't be blowing the money. I'll do what you want. Anything, anything. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And that's all she ever wanted in the first place anyway. So her eyes pop open again, and she turns around, and he meets her, and they reconnect, and they have a honeymoon period, and then whoosh, they go back into it all over again. And this is what we call the cycle of the addicted relationship. Now, making changes to this chaos is often very difficult. And as we noted before, here's these little people in the middle of all this, and as these two people are paying attention and not paying attention to each other, who do you think is paying attention to these little people? And also, what are they witnessing in terms of what a relationship is or is not supposed to be, and how are they becoming imprinted? Very, very important in this whole situation. What can happen is that either one of these people, for some reason, can get well or make a decision for things to change and get better. And when they do that, if he supposedly decides to get sober, maybe their relationship can change if she's willing to make changes too, or vice versa. It's difficult and takes a lot of work to get both of these people on board to making changes together to transform the relationship. Another possibility that often happens is one of these people will spot some poor little fool on the outskirts and do what we would call a trapeze move and start a new relationship without completing this relationship and dealing with what has not been completely worked through here. And what is going to happen if they do that is they're going to end up with the same addictive relationship cycle in that relationship as they had with this one. It's not like a new pair of shoes you can just buy that are going to work, perfectly and brand new. You have to work through the stuff in order to get to the other side. So that is the explanation of the addicted relationship. I hope this is helpful for you to see. We're going to be going into a part 2 of this video where we look at the parenting styles that create these two people and how they end up the way they are and ready to get into this relationship at the start. If you have any questions, feel free to go to my website, www.lucbenoit.com, or phone me at 562-618-3099. Have a great day.